Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Andrea from Andrea Speaks TV here. Listen, I'm back to bring you news and commentary you can use. I want to say I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you had a wonderful day. And I want to say thank you as always for supporting the channel, okay? Listen, y'all, I'm back to give you an update once again on the migrant crisis. I have so much information that I'm going to be recording and uploading in videos for you. So please be on the lookout for that, as well as make sure you check out my migrant crisis coverage playlist. I'll link it in the description and also at the end of this video. So if you're just tuning in or you want a refresher, you can go back and watch it, okay? Listen, y'all, I have an update for you. We have talked about so far concerning the migrant crisis, okay? Of course, we've talked about the border states such as Texas. We've talked about Arizona, the states that are right there on the front line when it comes to the Mexico-United States border. I've even given you reports, right? I've shared information with you that I received that migrants are being flown in. They've been bused to and even taken by train in some cases, right? To cities and states like New York City, New York, Chicago, Illinois. We've talked about Denver, Colorado. We have talked about Los Angeles, California, and other cities, right? Even Washington, D.C. Okay, so today, y'all, we have a new state to add to the list. Okay, I also did a video and I talked about the top 10 states where the migrants are somehow finding their way from the cities, the largest cities, sanctuary cities that I just named, and they're finding their way by whatever means, right? They're finding their ways to other states, okay, such as my state, which is Georgia. All right, listen, y'all, I have another state now that I want to speak about, Maine, okay, the state of Maine. Which is in the northeast. That's correct, y'all, right? I got my geography right, y'all, okay? That is in the northeast, okay? Northeastern part of the United States. And according to my sources, y'all, okay, this is on my desk here, migrants, okay, can get up to 2 years of free rent for new apartments, okay? Now, before you share your thoughts in the comments, listen to what the information is saying, okay? And then I want to take your thoughts on this as well, okay? And I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. All right, y'all, listen. A new program, okay? According to my sources, there's a new program in the state of Maine which will provide asylum seekers, as they're referred to, with free housing for up to 2 years as cities across the country continue to grapple, okay, with what is being described as an influx of migrants, okay? Now, the United States of America has seen, okay, several thousands, sometimes it seems like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of migrants entering the country in recent months, at times creating what's being said new challenges for city officials as they seek to allocate resources for them, okay? Finding new homes has been an issue, okay? I just did a video earlier today, right, where I was telling you all how in in New York City, there's a law, okay, I spoke about this before, called the right to shelter. And so if someone comes and is in need of housing, they have to take steps to provide the person, the family, with shelter, okay? So in the case of the migrant families who have made their way to New York City, they were given the option, okay? I assume they went through an application process and applied, and in some cases, single migrants, I believe, those without families, could receive up to 30 days of shelter in the migrant shelters. And then if you were a part of a family, if you have a family, you could receive 60 days, okay? Well, right now, okay, as I record this video and I present it to you, right now in New York City, they're going through the eviction process, okay? Evicting those migrants who have now exceeded or who have either met or exceeded their 60-day shelter stay, okay? So I said all that to say that finding homes for migrants, okay, has been a key issue, particularly in communities that already have housing shortages, okay? And that's where I'm kind of going to give my opinion on this news, okay? Many migrants, according to the information I have in front of me, many of them have been living in shelters and hotels, okay, across the country. But one city in particular in Maine is launching a program to give some migrants free housing, okay? Let's find out this information, y'all. Brunswick, Maine, okay? We want to talk about the city of Brunswick, Maine, who is planning to open 60 new apartments for migrants, with 24 of the units already complete. according to local news station WCSH-TV, okay? The units are specifically planned for migrants awaiting their work permits, a process that can take more than a year, okay? This program is being led by the Maine State Housing Authority, okay? It sounds like a, state agency, right? State agency, taxpayer dollars, okay? That's according to the news station who gave that report. Now, also according to the news station WGME, the state, okay, the state will help pay for migrants' rent using funds approved by the state legislature, okay? The program has enough funding to pay rent for up to 2 years, but the migrants will need to pay 30% of their rent once they find a job, the news station reported, okay? After the 2 years of the program are up, the housing built by the group and its name Developers Collaborative will be converted to a mix of market rate and affordable housing unless officials decide there is a need to extend the program. Okay, that's according to WCSH, all right? Dan Brennan, who the article refers to as the executive director of the Maine State Housing Authority, told WCSH that the program is, and I quote, a unique solution to a very exciting opportunity in our state, okay? He was quoted as telling the news station, and I quote, "We have thousands of folks coming to Maine who want to make Maine home. We're doing everything we can to help that situation," okay? Now, he also, according to reports, more than 250 families applied to live in the apartments when the wait list opened last May, prompting officials to close it. Okay, that's according to, I'm assuming, a local newspaper called the Times Record, or a local news source. The Maine State Housing Authority was reached out to via email for comment. At the time of this article, they haven't issued a statement. Brunswick is a city, okay, to kind of get an idea of, that was one of my questions that I had. What is the makeup of, or how many people rather live in this particular community, Brunswick, Maine? My sources say that Brunswick is a city of more than 20,000 people, roughly 26 miles north of Portland, the state's largest city. Okay, I've never been to Maine. Have you all been to Maine, or do you live in Maine? Please share some insight. Okay, now Maine, which the source says has about 1.3 million people, that has long been viewed as having a housing shortage, has struggled to manage an influx of migrants. City officials in Portland have said that more than 1,600 asylum seekers arrived there last year, okay? Now, the city, the article concludes by saying, the city planned to house migrants at the Portland Expo Center, which could hold 300 people, but that hit capacity last year, okay? Housing designed specifically for migrants in southern Maine is scarce, with one other 52-unit complex in South Portland offering housing for them, and that's according to a report by the Press Herald, okay? Now, again, y'all, as I have said, okay, helping people in time of need, there's a certain humanitarian thing to do, okay? But at the same time, you cannot forget about the American people, okay? Now, I've never visited Maine. I've never been there. I got some information about this particular community from the article, but I would think, okay, as it is in several cities throughout our country, right, the United States, there are many people who are trying to find what they would consider affordable housing, okay? There are some communities, right? There are some communities in some cities where there are so many people there are so many American people who are looking for housing, affordable housing. Maybe they had to move because their rent increased, or who knows what the factors were, right? The circumstances or the situation. There are, thousands of Americans looking for housing, who want to even purchase their own home, and, different things like that. And so those people could possibly feel overlooked, okay, if they're still on a wait list for housing, okay? Whatever form of housing that may be, whether it's single family home, apartment, multifamily home, they may feel overlooked. They may feel left behind, overlooked and looked over. That's the same thing, right? But what I'm saying is they may feel a certain way about people who are not born here, who are part of, this growing concern, the migrant crisis, who are coming in and just being given so many free resources, including free housing. Now, I see here that they made the stipulation or they also made the statement, according to my sources, that the units are specifically planned for migrants awaiting their work permits so that they can begin working. They did say that the process could take more than a year. And then the program, it says, has enough funding to pay rent for up to 2 years, but migrants will need to pay 30% of their rent once they find a job. So I'm assuming that once their work permit goes through, everything is cleared, that then they will have to start paying 30%, while I'm assuming the state will cover 70%. Okay, what are your thoughts on that? It is surprising, okay, I'll be honest with you, that the state is using a portion of its funding, who I'm assuming, I could be wrong, let me know if you have any more insight into this, that it is coming from the tax-paying citizens, tax-paying residents of Maine. My question is, how do the residents in this particular community feel about that? Not only those who may be seeking housing themselves, but like I said, the tax-paying residents of this particular community, okay? How do they feel about a portion of their tax dollars going to fund this, the migrant housing, okay? I did speak about earlier in my video that it's entirely too cold for anyone, okay? No matter what walk of life you come through, it's entirely too cold right now, okay? Because we're in the winter months, it's January. It's entirely too cold for anyone to be living outside due to the fact that they, can't find housing. But what are your thoughts on this, okay? Again, how do the residents in Brunswick, Maine feel knowing and hearing this information, okay? Do you think this is a real solution? On the channel I ask about what are the real solutions. So Maine, okay, they took it upon themselves to use state funding, okay, funded by the tax-paying citizens, to create housing, okay? Will we see more of this, okay? Will we see more of housing going up specifically for migrant men, women, and children, migrant families? Will we see more of this, okay? And if so, what does that mean for people, okay? What does that mean for people, communities all across the country who are looking for housing and looking to build housing that is not specifically for migrants, okay? Are they now in competition when it comes to buying land and building buildings, building apartments, or building homes, townhomes, single family homes, townhomes? What's going to become of this, okay? That's where I want to know your thoughts, all right? Thank you all so much for staying tuned to the channel. I'll be back with more news and commentary you can use. I have a lot to talk about, y'all. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, okay? See you in the next video.